month. How are you guys able to do this? Who are you guys?
It's 2008. I learned about this company called Sharpen My Teeth on content development, building audience. Brian was my boss. Got to hear how Brian thinks, and it was a huge influence on me.
The creator economy, I don't think it's going to be a small thing. I think it's going to be the thing. Whether you make computers or sell insurance, all of those things will be commoditized. The only differentiation is going to be...
You and I were like, we're very good at building audience. Let's find an underserved market and create content, mass audience acquisition. That's always how I think. How are we going to get you 1 million views tomorrow? And we got to the point where it'd be somewhat predictable that we'd get 10 million views in a day or two.
So what happened? It sounds like it was a success.
If I'm just being super candid, what happened was we have 10,000 hours in this. We've been doing this for a very long time.
Yo, my name is Jaeki Cho. Few of y'all might recognize me from scrolling through your social media feeds, whether it's Righteous Eats or my own personal account. Or you might recognize me from interviewing BTS some years back, or you might not know me at all. And in that case, I'm here to clarify the details. You may remember clicking on this channel back in the day as a source of entertainment for all things related to K-pop. Does the name FOMO Daily ring a bell? You guys have likely never even seen the faces behind the brand that was FOMO Daily. So I decided it was only right to get them together. This is Brian, my business partner. He's the co-founder of Righteous Eats, a channel highlighting mom and pop restaurants that in less than 2 years has amassed over 500,000 followers on all social media platforms. He's been in the content creation business for 15 years, beginning with his own startup, Knocksteady, which was bought by Maker Studios. Brian went on to lead a music and commerce business at Maker, working with creators like PewDiePie and Markiplier, until Disney acquired Maker for a little shy of $700 million back in 2014. And then there's his partner, Julia, who started her career in the music industry, but foreseeing the changing landscape that social media would bring, she decided to take her skills of audience acquisition over to the content creation industry. She joined Maker Studios in 2011, which is where she met Brian. So why does all of this matter? Because after Maker Studios got acquired by Disney, Brian and Julia decided to join forces to build FOMO Daily. Their thesis was to create a BuzzFeed for East Asian pop culture content that amassed over 1 million followers and surpassed 300 million plus views, all in the span of 18 months. Sounds like a successful operation, right? But why did they stop? I was curious myself, so I got them together to learn how Brian and Julia built FOMO Daily from the ground up. Why did they ultimately stop? And the future that lies ahead for the channel formerly known as FOMO Daily. All right, let's check it out.
Can you just explain what FOMO Daily is? Like what kind of content?
It's a YouTube channel. FOMO Daily is a YouTube channel that Julie and I started as a side project to see if we can build a channel.
You and I were like, we're very good at building audience. Let's see what we can do. Let's find an underserved market and create content that'll be super engaging for them and something that they would want to get. And then it just kind of took off from there. It became something that we did every day, all day, and built out. Yeah.
What kind of content were you guys making?
K-pop and Eastern content. East content that was very popular in the East, but was not very popular in English-speaking places, particularly the United States. Yeah.
But was growing here, where it was the big media companies haven't caught on to this yet, but
exactly.
There's the kids on the internet know where it is kind of thing. It almost was like BuzzFeed for K-pop fans and Eastern culture fans.
Wow.
So it was reaction videos, trying new things, showing them clips from shows, all that sort of stuff.
So even back then, the K-pop fan base was early on. It was very a rabid fan base, right? So the type of viewership and the engagement you guys were getting, what was it like?
I think our best month ever was probably 30, 40 million views a month. Yeah. The entire project was only 16, 17, 18 months. We only did it for a year and a half, right? So I would imagine we probably had 300 million views overall. Yeah. From nothing, from scratch, right?
And we got to the point where it'd be somewhat predictable of okay, if a new BTS music video is coming out this week, this is going to be a great week for us. And we would plan around it of all right, it's coming out this day and this time. We got to get people in. The minute it's on YouTube, we're going to start recording, flip it that day, get it up, because we knew every BTS, the entire army was going to be Googling that will come up. And so we get 10 million views in a day or two on one of those videos.
Yeah. So what happened? What happened to FOMO Daily? It sounds like it was a success.
It was, and it was a success in, proving our thesis that like we knew how to build audiences and even revenue on those audiences. If I'm just being super candid, what happened was we made it with the intention of it being acquired. The potential acquirers were very slow. We went back and forth. They were dragging their feet. So the acquirers, they either want it and they want us to stick around for another 2 years to run it, or they're dragging their feet. And even if we did give it to them, they don't know what to do with it.
Can you guys disclose the acquirer or the potential acquirer?
Why not? The first acquirer or the target was CJ, right?
CJ is in CJ Entertainment.
CJ Entertainment.
Korean conglomerate.
The major Korean conglomerate that has everything from
sugar to cake.
Yeah, sugar to pop festivals, right? CJ had just bought a linear TV station, right? And then they rebranded that as Mnet. And then so Mnet was the precursor to KCON. All the experiential IRL stuff was doing well. TV station not so well, especially because everything was going online. So they tried to hire all these people to make like, you know, KCON, the website, a destination, and like program YouTube with like podcasts that nobody watched and TV shows that nobody watched. And then we looked at that and we were like, yo, that's a lot of money that you're wasting. We could probably build something way more meaningful.
And what happened? Like, they were just like, nah.
You know, Korean companies have some of the deepest pockets in the world, but the shortest hands, right?
I've never heard that expression.
Right? So like,
I got it. Yeah, I feel that.
So that's what happened.
I'm gonna write that down.
Because they have such deep pockets, it comes from a place of trying not to lose what you have versus trying to grow. And when you come from a place of like trying to protect, then things have to be double checked, triple checked, versus when you have nothing to lose, or you're playing from a place of like passion or like vision, then you're doing what we're doing, which is like, hey, you know what would be really cool? Let's just start paying people $25 to go to these restaurants and start supporting. Julie and I looked at each other and we're like, hey, do you really want to make K-pop videos? Like, we could be doing anything. And I don't mean that in like a braggy way, but yeah, we could be working on whatever we want to be working on. Do we want to make K-pop videos? So we're like, all right, well, what do we want to do? So we essentially just walked away.
I don't think that sounded like disparaging.
Yeah.
You know, it was just a real honest conversation with yourselves. Like, if we want to continuously put our efforts behind something, like, is this it?
I think we were too early with what we were doing. They didn't understand K-pop. They thought it was just some weird niche that we had filled. They didn't understand the value proposition or what we were showing them we could do.
For sure.
If we were having those conversations now, I think they'd be different.
Right.
But
I understand that is now a $10-15 billion industry.
Exactly.
That experience was a big teacher for me. It's like, man, life's too short. If you're not doing the thing that you're willing to do for free for a lifetime, then why even spend one day doing it?
What do we want to do with FOMO Daily?
You tell me, what do you guys want to do with it?
To be honest, why were we here? We're going to try and be transparent about like, okay, you guys haven't uploaded anything in 5 years. Who the hell are you and what are you guys doing? And then B, what are you guys trying to do with it? I want to take it into just providing utility.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think the best utility that we could provide right now is actually having open conversations like this about the creator economy, where things are going. And this is stuff that we live, breathe, shit, talk about every day.
Now that you've been a full-time content creator for 2 years now, right? How can we continue to give like all the sauce and all the secrets that you've amassed in those 2 years? How can we give that away? If what we did with Righteous Seats was for restaurants and for people in sort of the community around food, let's even address a bigger market and provide even more utility by addressing all the folks that are going to come into the creator economy, which I don't think is going to be a small thing. I think it's going to be the thing, right? I envision a future, we envision a future in which, look, if you're whether you make computers or sell insurance, all of those things will be commoditized. The only differentiation is going to be the brand or the community behind that. What does this stand for over this, right? And I think all of that is going to come from a place where you're going to have to tell your story. You're going to have to consistently engage with your community. So, instead of just letting the people that know about what's going to happen and let them capitalize on what's going to happen, why don't we be the shepherd to let everyone, or as many of the people that look like us, that talk to us, that are from our communities. Why don't we give those people these things?
I'm excited for your guys' level of transparency with this stuff, because like I get a lot of the TikToks of the like 24-year-old bro financial advisor, and they're like, just take your paycheck and invest it and do day trading, and it's as simple as that, and you'll all be a million. It's like, this is bullshit. I think what you guys will bring in addition to just expertise is a level of transparency that a lot of these creators, interestingly enough, don't bring to their content because they think it has to be certain way,
sure.
and selling a dream and selling $1 million deal rather than like, no, we got 6 $20,000 deals last month and that's what kept the lights on, sort of thing.
I'm very interested in what the challenge is going to be as we try to rebrand or reshift the focus from like East meets West content to creator content. Is the algo going to give us any love, or is it going to be an uphill struggle?
You know, Julia, now that we're trying to make this transition, what are some of the advice, thoughts, and ideas that you would like to share with us? Like, how should we do this?
It's always a balance between quality and quantity with YouTube and with stuff like this, quality doesn't necessarily mean 4K or whatever in drones. It just means making stuff that you like and you're proud of. But also these algorithms, they reward frequency, they reward consistency. So it's figuring out how to efficiently produce and get stuff out there. But again, if your goal, and it sounds like your guys' goals are a bit higher than just mass audience acquisition. That's always how I think, is like, how are we going to get you 1 million views tomorrow, sort of thing. But if that's not your goal, it gives you a lot more flexibility in terms of your programming, how you produce and what you upload. So I don't know, that's probably not advice, but more of just a perspective.
So if the focus is about the creator economy, right? Anything that you would want to watch?
If you're dealing in the creator economy, I think some sort of interview format or exchange format where you can have other people that are either up and coming or big, it could probably be a mix, having them on to talk about their perspective on this world. People that are building massive merch lines or releasing products or have just done hugely successfully on, one of the different social platforms. I think that would be an interesting voice to bring in.
Okay, so if we have other creators on, what would you want us to talk to them about?
What could be really interesting is getting them. I think part of what you guys do is like, we're really honest about how the business works, how you have to do things, how you shouldn't do things. If you can get people that are down to kind of come on and be honest about that stuff, maybe they won't tell you how much they got paid for this one deal, but
why
like,
not?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Maybe this is the place. That I think that would be really interesting when you get to know how they're approaching the business in a way that they may not share on their their beauty blog or whatever.
Yeah.
30 million views a month. How are you guys able to do this? Who are you guys?
My first job was in the music industry. It's 2008. The music industry is literally falling apart. While I was working in that space, I realized there's still a ton of business here, but it's not selling albums. It's not making money off of the content you're making. It's making money off of the audience that you've built and the fan base that you've developed. So then I learned about this company called Maker Studios, which was one of the first and ended up being one of the biggest multi-channel networks, which was like a big thing back in 2010 to 2014-ish. So I got a job there. So that was where I got started and sort of, sharpened my teeth or whatever on content development, building audience. And that's where I met Brian. And I was running music and Brian was running the entire music division. So Brian was my boss. And that's when we really got to work closely together. And I got to hear how Brian thinks, and it was a huge influence on me.
So she worked for you.
Mm-hmm.
What was it about Julia that kind of made y'all click and say, yo, we're actually going to go off and start a whole new project together?
This is sort of why we ended up becoming partners. Julia wanted to sign this little channel that, she really believed in, right? And you saw this channel, Little Dicky, basically.
Oh.
Yeah. So Julia sees Little Dicky. She shows me the video. I'm like, this is great. But the thing is, the channel was brand new. So he had one video that had, I don't know, a couple 100,000 views, maybe even 1 million. But the manager's like, can you do something? Because your regular net dev deal is just so weak. Help us feel a little special. So we come up with the plan. She's like, let's just give him a signing bonus, like 5K, discretional. All right, cool, let's do it. And then I get a thing. What is this 5K? So I'm talking to the founders at the time. And I'm like, well, this artist that we really believe in, they're like, does he fit into the, no? Okay. So we ended up saying, no, we can't do it. And then he has his own show now on Hulu.
Yeah.
For 5K. That was the genesis of us being like, yo, we're on some other shit.
Yeah.
Should we also intro Jaeki, if this is potentially reaching a new audience that doesn't know your guys' current content or what you guys are doing? Should we talk a little bit about that? Bring it in, bring it all in.
Why don't you lead? So Jaeki, we know you, but why don't you introduce yourself to
Yeah.
the FOMO Daily audience?
My name is Jaeki Cho. I'm a full-time content creator. I started off making TikTok videos in 2020. I've known Brian through our previous relationships, and when I started to amass this audience on TikTok, I reached out to Brian about something else because I wanted to make a podcast channel, podcast network for Asian American podcasters. Brian thought it was a dumb idea. He told me that, yo, you're already in the 8th inning if you want to go into that. The game's about to be over. But what's up with your TikTok shit? I was like, yo, I'm just doing this for fun. But he was like, nah, I think you should lean into that. And then he started just dropping gems about the creator economy. And I got this crash course about how the creator economy is going, where it's been, how this could be this life-changing career move for me. That was pretty much the genesis of Righteous Eats. Was now that I have this big audience that's interested in me cooking, and I'm not a subject matter expert in cooking, but I want to support the local businesses that were affected by the pandemic. How can we make that transition? Going into 2022, we were like, yo, let's just do this full time. And I burned the sales, I quit my job, became a full-time content creator.
So now that you have a greater understanding of the creators behind FOMO Daily, its inception and eventual ending, allow me to formally introduce the next iteration of its predecessor, Creators Lunch, the resource for creators across all verticals. Whether you make food or lifestyle content, short form or long form, if you're an aspiring content creator or somebody who just got their first 10,000 subscribers and needs help navigating the world of sponsorships and brand deals, whatever it is, this is the destination for anybody that believes in the power of creating and transparency. Through our 15 plus years of experience of working with some of the biggest YouTubers in the world, securing partnerships with big name brands, and now harvesting that attention to share what we know with the rest of the world. Listen, we don't claim to know it all, which is why Brian and I will be inviting some of your favorite content creators here to share lessons on their respective journeys and insights on the creator economy, one meal at a time. Frankly, we don't know if Creators Lunch will work, but if you're even the slightest bit intrigued on what we're building, let us know what you want to see from this channel in the comments below. Whether it's guests you like to see, specific topics about the creator economy you like us to talk about, your feedback is truly appreciated. Also, if you can, please hit that like button for the algo. Since posting for the first time in 5 years and switching to a completely new audience will have us in an uphill battle versus the algo, to say the least. If you made it this far, appreciate y'all for watching. Peace and blessings.